What is going on, guys? Callsign Rice back again for video 2 of A Beginner's Journey. If you guys haven't already watched video 1 of A Beginner's Journey, definitely hit the hyperlink above and go check it out before you watch this video. If you don't know what this video series is about, A Beginner's Journey basically focuses on the steps of becoming an advanced beginner. These are all steps that I've used to advance myself in Airsoft and only playing for 1 year. Once again, as stated in all of my videos, I'm not an Airsoft professional. In nowhere are these tips to be taken to heart 100%. You can choose to follow these tips or ignore them. They're simply up on the internet for anyone that's interested. Now, let's get into this video. So, in this video, we're going to be focusing on weapon fundamentals and proper handling of firearms. Most of the times when I see new players come onto the field, the first thing that is ignored is Airsoft and firearm safety. A lot of players come onto the field to have fun with their friends and mess around, however, they don't really know about the real repercussions of not handling your firearm correctly. That's what we're really going to focus on in this video, so let's get into it. For this video, for this prop gun, I'll be using my old Crytek. There are 4 basic rules of firearm safety. The first one is always treat a weapon like it is loaded. Now, there are multiple different subsections of this weapon rule when it comes to Airsoft, because you have to transport your gun, you have to bring it onto the field, you have to bring it around in staging. However, we're going to go over the basic firearm rule. So, treating a weapon like it's loaded is as follows. Never point the barrel at anything you don't point to shoot. Always point the weapon at the ground when you don't intend to shoot anybody. Always make sure that the weapon is unloaded and cleared and safe at all times. Now, when you first go to your Airsoft field, there are a couple things you need to do. Go to the buttstock or the front handguard wherever your battery is wired, whether it's a front wired gun or a rear wired gun. Ensure that the battery is disconnected and safely stored. As you can see, if I take my butt plate off, there's no battery in the gun. It's cleared, it's safe, and it's not active. Next thing you want to do is ensure the chamber is clear. Make sure the magazine is out. Take a dejamming rod down the barrel and push it down the barrel to ensure that there's no round in the chamber. Final thing you want to do is take a barrel bag. These barrel bags are around $5 to $10 on Evike. I got this at my field. It's a custom field barrel bag. Make sure that it's over your barrel and the black strap is underneath the gun and secured tightly so that the barrel bag does not come off. Now, typically with Airsoft guns, they'll have front iron sight posts or anything at the top that you can mount them to. However, with this gun, I don't use it anymore. I stripped it of all of its attachments, so I'm literally holding it. However, whenever you go to a field, make sure that it's secured tightly. This, right now, is not acceptable because if I point it down, barrel bag is going to come off. That's not safe. You never want that to happen. So, to go over that again real quick, barrel bag, no magazine, no battery, and clear chamber. Those are the 4 things you want to do when you're transporting your Airsoft gun. Next rule of firearm safety is to never have your finger on the trigger unless you intend to shoot. Now, unfortunately, I see a lot of these mistakes at the field with rental players. So, when you have your gun, whether it's real steel or Airsoft, you never put your finger on the trigger unless you intend to fire your weapon. As you can see as I'm holding it, my finger is far away from the trigger. There's nowhere close to where I could accidentally discharge this weapon. Even when you're aiming in on target, you can see that my finger is off the trigger. I don't pull it down until I'm ready to shoot. Never put your finger on the trigger unless you intend to shoot that gun. What also goes into that rule is navigating with your safety and your fire selector. Personally, I find that whenever I'm reloading my gun, moving it around, or switching behind cover is to always manipulate the safety. So, say I'm engaging a threat. I'm on semi. Boom, boom, boom. I want to reload. Flick that safety on, bring your weapon up, and reload your weapon. Never have your gun still on semi when you come up to reload. Because if you come down accidentally and your finger slips onto that trigger, you might accidentally shoot your teammate or something worse. Especially if you're pointing your weapon down. Alright? So I'm coming in. I want to reload my gun. Say I'm still on semi. I bring it down and my finger slips onto the trigger. I'm going to shoot into the ground or my teammate's leg or something even worse. I don't want that to happen. Say someone's crouched down below me at low cover and they're cleaning their iPro or something else and they made a mistake to take their iPro off. They're going to get shot in the face, and that is the last thing you want. So whenever you're reloading or moving between cover and running, always flip that safety back on. You don't need that gun up. And if there is a threat that emerges, you're running, just bring your gun up and start engaging that threat. Your safety and other players' safety is more important than dying and respawning on a field. The next rule, and this mainly goes into real steel shooting, however it also goes into Airsoft, is always verify that everything in between your target and behind your target is clear. Now, with Airsoft, This is also equally as important because say you're engaging a threat down the field and you're shooting, what if there's an innocent player behind them or a ref or something else? Make sure that nothing is behind your target to get in the way or have any unnecessary collateral damage. Nobody wants collateral damage when they're playing Airsoft. It's a fun game and we want to make sure that it's done safely. So those are the basic rules of firearm safety with Airsoft. I really hope you guys listen to that section because that is honestly the most important part of Airsoft and getting into this sport. Safety is a major issue, and a lot of new players when they come onto the field don't listen to it. However, I could have avoided a lot of injuries if newer players simply listened to the ref when they came onto the field. Now that we got firearm safety out of the way, let's get into proper grip and weapon fundamentals. So, let's start with the rifle. There are a couple ways that you can hold your rifle with Airsoft, and to be quite honest, you can hold it in any way that you want. However, these tips are what I found to be useful when I'm playing. A lot of you guys have seen in my videos, when I hold my rifle, I C-clamp. So, what a C-clamp basically is you shoulder the rifle normally. However, instead of bringing your hand under, you bring your hand to the side of the barrel and basically hold your hand in a C and grab the side of that weapon. Your elbow is going to be knocked out a little bit and your arm is going to be parallel with the gun, with your hand on the side of the barrel. Now, some people choose to bring their finger up and basically have an extension of their hand and basically point where they want their BB to go. I personally find that to be very useful because I always tell people to train like the weapon is an extension of your finger, right? So usually when you point at something, you're pointing directly at it and you have a direct target. You can use this same tactic when you're playing Airsoft, is basically use your finger on the tip of your barrel, pointed the same way that your barrel is going, and just point at targets that you want to hit. That way, even if you don't have a sight, you basically have your hand that you can just point and shoot. Nothing too crazy about that. Another way you can grip your rifle is basically holding it underneath, which is what I see a lot of people do. That way, you can get some support on the gun, and you don't really have to worry about any sophisticated grip. Another way is bring your hand back, hold it close. You have a little bit of more leverage by the mag well. Now you can support the magazine and just hold the gun like that. I personally don't find that to be useful. I have never used that, nor will I ever. However, a lot of newer players like to play that way. Now, what I also wanted to get into was shouldering the gun. Usually, when I see newer players get on the field, I usually see them, if they're too small, is put the stock over their shoulder, which is what a lot of speed softers do, to get as close as they can to their gun sights and maneuver that way. However, I personally find that you have the most support if you stick the stock of the gun into the small hole of your shoulder. That way, you're supported and you can push it in and you're sturdy and you can manage your gun and keep the barrel straight. That's basically all that goes into gripping a rifle. You can do it whatever way you want to. There's nothing too crazy about it. However, those are some tips that personally I found to be useful to myself. Now, getting into sidearm stuff, not a lot of newer players use sidearms because a lot of them go to the field to rent a gun and they just have the gun that was given to them. However, for a couple of you guys that do have sidearms, let's get into it. So, when gripping a sidearm, there are a couple things that are pretty necessary. When I grip a sidearm, there are some things that I know about real steel that I incorporate into Airsoft. So if you look at my Glock, there is a curve from the grip up to the slide. That is what we call a tang. What I like to do is take this indent in my pointer finger and my thumb and push it as high up as I can to the tang of that weapon to get a high tang grip. What that does is basically supports the gun in your hand to where it's stable, and when the gun fires, you have minimal recoil. I know it's Airsoft and you don't have recoil as it is. However, this minimizes it even more. With your support hand, what you want to do is take your 3 fingers, line them up with those 3 fingers that are at the bottom of the gun, take your pointer finger and basically rest it underneath the trigger guard. Bring your thumb up to the slide, right underneath the slide, line it up with your thumb. Once your 2 thumbs are aligned, basically just rest them against each other. And I like to also rotate my hand so I have a little bit of upper leverage. So that way when I come out, my left arm is supporting the gun to keep it stable. A lot of people, when I find that they're shooting for the first time, is hold the gun low and hold it underneath. You're not going to get a lot of trigger control or be able to align your sights correctly. So again, high tang grip, wrap your 3 fingers around, bring it underneath, put your thumbs with each other, line up your sights, and you're ready to go. Now in terms of your arms, what I've seen personally is people like to lock up and bring their shoulders up and be tense with it, get loose. Loosen your shoulders up, lock your arms out, lean forward, bring your dominant leg forward as well, and lean into it. That way you're pushing with the target. You're engaging the threat, you're getting your sights lined up, and you have a strong grip, so that way when you're moving, you can immediately start going and you still have your sights aligned. With your leg forward, you also have a support, so that way, usually this is with real steel because of the recoil, but with real steel you have the recoil so it brings you back, and that way you have a support leg to hold you in the one position. That's basically gripping your firearms. Now, again, these tips are not required to be followed. However, if you find this to be useful to you, then you're welcome to use them. All right, so those are all the tips for today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed this. In the next video, we're gonna get into reloading. I hope you guys did enjoy this. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Give me some thoughts that you think of this video. Once again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the field.